John Perry, CEO of Solix Inc., knew something had to be done. Solix, a business process outsourcing company, had recently been spun off from a larger company, and leaders were grappling with a number of serious problems. Turnover was verging on 20% a year, and people were frequently absent or tardy because they just didn't want to come to work. To beat it all, Solix wasn't making any money. As leaders considered what to do, Perry decided it might be a good idea to ask their employees. He met with each employee individually to ask what people wanted and needed to be more engaged and committed, have happier lives, and make the company more successful. The result was that Perry threw out the company's top-down authoritarian management system in favor of a plan that has leaders and employees working more like partners. He ended the rigid 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. workday that required managers to be present to oversee employees. Instead, he opened the office 24 hours a day and allowed people to set their own flexible schedules. Since Perry made those decisions, employees and the company have blossomed. Staff turnover dropped to less than 4%, and employees average less than half the number of unscheduled days off as compared to the industry average. Solix has received the Alfred P. Sloan Award for Business Excellence in Workplace Flexibility for 6 straight years. That's 2007 to 2013. And has been named one of New Jersey's best places to work for 4 straight years. Moreover, the company revenues have continued to grow despite tough economic times. Committed and engaged employees who feel that they are valued by the company have made the difference. Many other leaders have found that creating an environment where people feel valued and respected is the key to high motivation. In this chapter, Motivation and Empowerment, you'll learn to recognize and apply the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Tap into the motives that induce people to take action to accomplish important goals. Motivate others by meeting their higher level needs. Apply needs-based theories of motivation and understand how the concept of equity applies to motivation. Describe the psychological and structural elements of empowerment and how empowerment contributes to motivation. Apply the job characteristics model to enrich jobs. Identify factors that play a role in employee engagement and use engagement to meet higher level needs. And build a thriving workforce by giving people a sense of making progress toward meaningful goals. Motivation refers to the forces, either internal or external, to a person that arouse enthusiasm and persistence to pursue a certain course of action. Employee motivation affects productivity, so part of the leader's job is to channel followers' motivation toward the accomplishment of the organization's vision and goals. The study of motivation helps leaders understand what promotes people to initiate action, what influences their choice of action, and why they persist in that action over time. The importance of motivation is that it can lead to behaviors that reflect high performance within the organizations. Studies have found that high employee motivation and high organizational performance and profits go hand in hand. An extensive survey by the Gallup organization, for example, found that when all of the organization's employees are highly motivated and performing at their peak, customers are 70% more loyal, turnover drops by 70%, and profits jump 40%. Leaders can use motivation theory to help satisfy followers' needs and simultaneously encourage high work performance. When workers are not motivated to achieve organizational goals, the fault is often within the leader. Intrinsic rewards are the internal satisfactions a person receives in the process of performing a particular action. An intrinsic reward is internal and under the control of the individual, such as to engage in task behavior to satisfy a need for competency and self-determination. Extrinsic rewards are given by another person, typically a supervisor, and include promotions and pay increases. Because they originate externally as a result of pleasing others, extrinsic rewards compel individuals to engage in a task behavior for an outside source that provides what they need, such as money to survive in modern society. Although extrinsic rewards are important, leaders work especially hard to help followers achieve intrinsic rewards. Intrinsic rewards appeal to the higher needs of individuals, such as for accomplishment, competence, fulfillment, and self-determination. Extrinsic rewards appeal to the lower needs of individuals, such as for material comfort and basic safety and security. Conventional management approaches often appeal to an individual's lower basic needs and rely on extrinsic rewards and punishments to motivate people to behave in desired ways. These approaches are effective, but they are based on controlling the behavior of employees by manipulating their decisions about how to act. The leadership approach strives to motivate people by providing them with the opportunity to satisfy higher needs and become intrinsically rewarded. Employees in companies that are infused with a social mission and that find ways to enrich the lives of others are typically more highly motivated because of the intrinsic rewards they get from helping others. One way in which leaders try to enable all followers to achieve intrinsic rewards is by giving them more control over their own work and the power to affect outcomes. Ideally, work behaviors should satisfy both lower and higher needs, as well as serve the mission of the organization. Unfortunately, this is often not the case. The leader's motivational role, then, is to create a situation that integrates the needs of people, especially higher needs, and the fundamental objectives of the organization. People have both positive and negative motives that cause them to engage in specific behaviors or activities. 4 categories of motives. Good leaders rely on positive motives as much as they can. However, negative approaches also have value. In the real world, almost every leader sometimes has to impose some form of punishment or tap into negative motives to get desired results in action. Fear can be a powerful motivator, but using fear to motivate people almost always has negative consequences for employee development and long-term performance. Effective leaders avoid the use of fear tactics.